everybody, and welcome to the Picture Perfect podcast. I am your host, Bobby Gross, alongside
the animal, Michael Batista.
He's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I am.
Episode 8. It was a very, very controversial episode last week, Mike. We really got into things, huh?
We did. It was a mixed bag of talk about movies, movie companies, theme parks,
Spider-Man.
I don't know if it was necessarily controversial because, we both at the end there was a point where we said, "I understand what you're saying." We just had two different ways of getting there.
I think it was very therapeutic for you, Mike. It seemed like you had a lot inside you that you just needed to get out, and I just let you go. I let it flow out of you.
It's just let it happen. Just let it happen.
Well, hopefully, I don't think there's too much dissenting opinion on this episode. We've got a few things to talk about. Kind of slow news week. There was a few trailers that dropped. We'll talk about those. We both saw Good Boys today.
We did.
Better late than never. It's been out, I think this is the third weekend it's been out. We finally got around to it.
Funny enough, I have not seen many trailers for it since it popped out. But
it's doing well box office wise though.
Which
is surprising. I think it's the top grossing comedy of the year so far, straight up studio comedy, which is kind of surprising. It's not like a Booksmart. It's not Long Shot. It's Good Boys. 3 kids going around cursing.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's what people like.
Well, last year we had 8th grade, and I think that it's more of that. People, especially
2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago?
I think so, wasn't it?
No, that was 2018.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, last year, it's 2017. Last year we had that version of youth. I think that now we're just going back to other things that people our age can relate to that, and then there are people who are that age who sneak into the theater who might relate to that a bit more, but this isn't as where 8th grade is the thing that everyone goes through that. This is more of oh, that's how I talk with my friends.
Yeah, and we'll have a review of that towards the end of the show. I'm also going to talk about a couple movies that I saw by myself the past couple weeks, and great movies in theaters right now. You're not going to get the big blockbusters. Next week is going to be crazy with the Chapter 2, which we'll be reviewing on the show, but the past couple weeks there hasn't been any major releases, but there's definitely some quality out there if you guys are looking to go to the theater this week. I wanted to apologize though, I'm a little nasal. I'm getting over a little bit of a sinus infection, so I might cough my lung out maybe 1 or 2 times. Who knows? This might be my last episode if this is the end of me, Mike.
Who knows, man?
I think I'm getting over it, but,
I think you'll be fine.
Will I?
I think so.
It would be great if I got you sick, wouldn't it?
I would kill you in your sleep.
Why? You have nothing to do.
I work. I do stuff.
I like that little thing. And I do stuff.
I get paid very little for things I write about.
That you can do at the luxury of your own home.
How about you shut up?
All right. Well, anyway, just to plug our stuff, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. If you could, please rate us 5 stars on Apple. The kids tell me that that's important. I don't know if it is.
Like and subscribe on YouTube.
Like and subscribe on YouTube and Facebook. We're at Picture Perfect on there. On Twitter, we are at PicPerfectCast. You can find all the updates on our show on there. Do a lot of retweeting of the newest trailers that we'll most likely talk about the next episode. And speaking of trailers, we had a few this week that we're going to talk about. First one we got was the Joker trailer.
Yes.
Now, this is the final trailer. This was only the second one, which typically...
wasn't it teaser main then final?
Well, there was a teaser where it was a makeup test. I remember that they did with the little music behind it. That's how they revealed the look of Joker.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did a trailer maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. I think there's only been 2 trailers, which usually there's about 3.
I'm kind of fine with that, though.
I'm good with that because in this one, they pretty much laid out what the plot is going to be. You get a better sense of story in this one. The first one, which I liked better than this one, it was a better vibe. I liked the music connection more in that first trailer. This one is kind of here's what's going on. Here's what this guy's going through.
The first one set up Joker as a person more. While this one was more, you already know you already know that. Let's now talk about the situation he's in.
Yeah, and I'm definitely intrigued. I don't think I needed to like get story. Like I'm fine with just mood, mood trailer like that first one was, because that's what invested me. And I've been looking forward to this movie for so long. Joaquin Phoenix looks like he's going to be terrifying in this movie. There's a shot in this trailer where like he's coming around a little corner and he's laughing, and then all of a sudden he just stops. He just cuts off the laugh and goes super serious. I'm like, oh man, this guy is obviously clearly he's got some issues. What do you think about this, Mike? What did you think of the trailer, and how high are you anticipating this movie?
Are you sure you know he's got some issues? Like, he didn't have a damage tattooed on his forehead. I don't
That's
know
true. He doesn't have any grills.
I don't know if I can understand.
He didn't align like 100 guns around him and then lay around in the middle of the circle.
If me as the viewer can comprehend that he's like messed up if he doesn't have damage on his forehead.
Jared Leto's Joker is an abomination. It is terrible. I hate that Joker.
So I am I'm intrigued, just because it's funny enough that recently, I don't know if maybe it's just by like association, I've been going back and watching clips from like the Batman Arkham games and like a bunch of that stuff. Like in the second one, they have a bunch of interviews between Joker and Hugo Strange, and he tells his origin story. And I've just been reading more up on that and like how, you know, this is a whole different take on that. And I'm very curious to see, like, this is the first time in a while we've seen Joker in a totally different light. There's only been pretty much two main Joker stories. That was the Jack Nicholson one, and then the comics ones, which is fall into a vat of acid after your wife dies and then go crazy when you have the red cylinder on your head. So this is like a whole different one. I'm kind of curious to like see where this goes, because it's totally a new thing. It's, what are they calling this? The Dark DC universe or something?
I don't know what they're calling this. I think it's just like a standalone for now. Their main like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, I think that's called the Worlds of DC or something like that.
I think they said that this is the first of like standalone, like different takes.
There might be a label for those standalone movies. I'm not quite sure.
I'm very interested to see like what this what like goes into this, because it's just something totally different. Instead of the girlfriend, it seems like it's going to be the mother, you know?
I'm so down for this movie, and obviously the comparisons have been drawn between like Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, two Martin Scorsese classics. I think that influence is very obvious. De
Niro's in King of Comedy, isn't he?
He is. He's kind of the
Joker.
The role in that movie. So it's kind of funny to see him taking over the Jerry Lewis role in this one, but I'm so down for it. Like, this is the kind of movie that, you know, you can have the Wonder Womans and Aquamans, the big blockbusters, right? But I think when you do these kind of lower level movies that are more character driven, I think that gives DC a great balance that Marvel doesn't have. It seems like a lot of them, of the Marvel ones, are MCU movies. Like, they don't stand on their own a lot of times, and they always kind of feel a little samey, especially in the big finales.
We talked about that last week.
There's not going to be a big sky beam in this one. There's not going to be a big, you know, action finale. It's character. And I know a lot of people are like, well, does Joker really need an origin movie? But it's like,
this isn't even his origin movie. This is a totally separate thing.
That, and also it's like, you can't even rely on this story in one sense, because if this is going to be taken from his point of view, he can just be an unreliable narrator. So it can be kind of like Heath Ledger, where he's telling different stories and it might be further from the truth. Like, they can take this in many different ways. I'm definitely hyped for this movie. This is probably one of my... This might be the most anticipated movie for me the rest of the year, including Rise of Skywalker.
Look at it like this. People don't need to see Uncle Ben get shot again. But when's the last time that on the big screen you saw a Joker origin thing? You've seen it in you've seen it in the comics, you've seen it in a couple TV things. And
Batman 89?
Yeah, you've seen Batman 89. Like, it's been mentioned in video games, and in Batman Arkham Origins, it starts off with like a montage sort of trippy vibe of him turning into Joker. But in big screen films, like, not really this century.
Yeah.
Like, Dark Knight, he just appeared, you know?
And this is a moderately budgeted movie too. I think it's only like $60 million.
For a superhero movie, that's pretty good.
But that's the thing, like, there's no superheroes. It's a straight up, like, kind of comic book movie, but not really. It'll be interesting to see if this starts a new trend of, like, because this might start something where you get a script and you look it over and you're like, maybe instead of this character, we can make it just a Joker movie. Like, maybe that's what happened here. Like, it was a script and they saw some kind of similarities and they're like, you know what, let's use some IP in this, because if we release it as a movie called The Clown or something like that, well, you know, what is that? You know, it has nothing behind it.
Yeah.
But if you call it The Joker, then you get people's interest. And so maybe we see a new trend where you moderately budget these movies, you slap a character or an IP on there, and suddenly you can really make some money.
So, like Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Like,
although that budget apparently got out of control, but it could be one of those things where...
But it's like, oh, Swamp Monster movie, Swamp Thing.
Exactly.
I'm hoping it doesn't go too crazy, though, because I don't want this formula overused, where it's like, man, let's now do a realistic take on the Penguin. It's like there are villains. Joker has no superpowers. Like, this will work for him because he's just a crazy dude, and there's like been times where, he was in the military, that's why he knows like hand-to-hand combat so well. But like at the end of the day, it could just be any person who could be Joker. There are other characters like Harley Quinn. Yeah, sure. But like there are other ones where it's like, this will not work for a lot of characters. Maybe for a lot of DC villains actually will work for. But there's other ones where it's like, no, Penguin won't work. Mr. Freeze will not work with this. Deadshot, maybe. You know.
And I think with that point, I think we've seen like the Cloverfield sequels kind of be like that, to where like it's a script. I think it was 10 Cloverfield Lane that wasn't originally supposed to be a Cloverfield movie, and it was very obvious because that whole movie is basically in a bunker, and it's more like whatever's happening outside is kind of like an apocalypse kind of thing. We don't really know, but then they incorporate the Cloverfield monster in there, and all of a sudden now it's part of that franchise. I think they did the same thing with that Cloverfield Paradox movie that went to Netflix originally. I think that was its own thing. And
I don't know about that one.
I think I read that somewhere. I could be wrong, but it's just those kind of situations where it's not necessarily you change a character. Maybe it's just you incorporate it into some kind of franchise, some kind of universe. I think that could work. I think that's going to work big time with Joker. It's going to make a lot of money, I feel like. It's a Joker movie. It's got a low budget. I think this movie can open, because it's in a good spot too. I think it opens in October. I think it could open to a nice $70-80 million, but at the same time, I feel like this movie's going to be divisive.
How excited are you to see all the crappy Joker costumes at Halloween?
I mean, I love the makeup right now. That in the movie,
yeah, but you're gonna get the Party City version.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, clearly, listen, I can't talk. When Dark Knight was released that same year, I went as the Joker.
Everyone who enters the party is going to say, can you introduce me as the Joker? Like, you had that 5 times with these crappy Party City costumes.
I love the trailer.
The trailer's great.
Although, like I said, I prefer the first one just because it's like all mood in that one. It didn't tell me story.
This one
I
had
didn't
more,
need any story.
This one had more De Niro, so I'm like, okay, I'm cool with this.
And you have Mark Maron pop up finally.
Yeah.
As I think he plays the show producer for Robert De Niro's talk show.
I think so.
I think that's what it is. I'm excited for it. You also have Zazie Beetz from Atlanta, from Deadpool 2 in this. It's got a great cast. Todd Phillips directing. I'm very excited.
Oh, she's doing a DC and... that was a Sony movie, I guess. Yeah. It was Marvel... You said Deadpool 2, so
yeah,
it's like...
it's a Fox movie, Mike.
Not Sony, yeah, you're right, Fox. There's too many
Which is now the mouse. It's Disney.
It's all Disney. Get ready for heckin' Deadpool.
I mean... Would that be the worst thing, Mike?
I mean, if he went super on nose with it, and he, had the ears on the entire time, I'd lose it.
I think you should start writing this movie and pitch it to Disney. Because they're probably not going to be able to put Deadpool as rated R, so you can, make it PG-13, little studio-friendly.
Alien is a Disney movie.
It is. But it's still going to be under the Fox banner, I would think.
Probably.
Deadpool is probably going to have to be somehow incorporated into the MCU. Wouldn't you think so?
No.
Okay.
No.
Discussion for another time.
Another time.
We also got a second trailer for Terminator Dark Fate. This is I guess it would be the third movie in the Terminator franchise, because everything after T2, Judgment Day, has been wiped away, kind of like Halloween.
Good.
I like this trend of getting rid of the crappy sequels. Get rid of them.
Pick and choose. This
one, I'll just say this. I'm not, like, a huge fan of the Terminator franchise. I've only seen the first two. I've never seen any of the sequels. I didn't see Genesis, which people hated. So I don't have much of a connection to Terminator. This trailer, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It seems like with all these 80s franchises and then they come back in these action movies, there's something lost in translation, because those first two movies rely, again, I've said this before about practical effects. A lot of practical effects in those movies, and now because James Cameron is heavily influencing this third one, Dark Fate, even though he put a stamp of approval on Genesis, he's actually a real producer on this one. It seems like it's very CG heavy, and again, if you're gonna do it in the franchise to where the first two have been practically, the practical effects were way outweighed the CG or any kind of computer graphics or anything like that, I think you have to be true to it. And
they crashed a truck and flipped it. Like, that semi-truck scene is, like, all practical pretty much, and stunt people.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, at the end of the end of the trailer where Sarah Connor does the "I'll be back" line, and then they do the explosion, it looked terrible.
It did.
It looked like director Tim Miller, who did the original Deadpool, it looked like the CG that you would see in that Deadpool movie.
But it's fine there.
Good.
It's not
good
because
it's a limited budget. I don't want to see that in a Terminator Dark Fate movie.
Yeah.
Especially when James Cameron is behind it.
I'm going to say is that Terminator, I love the first two. Two more than one. It's just that when they do these movies, I'm more a fan of Terminator in our time chasing someone down. And then in the later movies, it became war against the cyborgs. And, like, the fate of humanity is, like, there's a difference between the fate of humanity relying on the fact that this person must survive to this person's the leader of our revolution. Now we must work together and, like, fight the cyborgs. Like, I don't care about this because it's not my time. It's like, I know the 1990s weren't my time either, but, like, or the 80s, but, like, at least those are, like, more human to me. That was more relatable. This is, like, they totally went off the rails and they started doing their own thing. This one, I can't tell what direction it's going in because, like, it's back in our time, but so I'm more excited for it, but it's just like, do you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah, I understand, and I don't know if this trailer is winning over the people that were really disappointed with those sequels.
What was the like to dislike ratio? Did we see that?
I think it was pretty positive, actually.
Let me check my phone.
I'll look it up real quick.
Because, like, I'm curious, like, how big it's going to be. Like, Genesis probably poisoned the well, but, like, people are going to see this, and, like, I don't know if it's going to win them back. The only thing I'm cool with this is that, like, stop bringing back Sarah Connor. She doesn't care. It's like, you can't just keep bringing back Sarah Connor and not Spielberg, Schwarzenegger Terminator, and just think that it's gonna matter anymore. They're old.
Well, isn't she? This is the first time she's coming back since T2, isn't it? I don't think, is she in the sequels? I don't know.
I thought she was in one of them, but maybe this is the first time she's returned.
I think it is.
Like, we kept bringing back Arnie, but, like, why are you bringing her back now? It's like she doesn't care. Like,
well, she's one of the main characters in the Terminator franchise.
I get it, but
and also Edward Furlong is coming back for this, so that's something because he's had his troubles, and I don't know how they pulled that off.
I don't know,
but
either.
Obviously it makes sense because John Connor is a big part as well as the Terminator franchise. So it's definitely feeling like a T2 sequel.
It does feel more like T2, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like if you go from if you follow chronologically, if you go from T1 to T2 to this, it's gonna feel so weird because they're just all old now.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, it's the same thing with Halloween. Like, I like the newest Halloween, but at the same time, I feel like this trailer is kind of trying to do the same things. You have that female protagonist who's trying to, like, you know...
They kind of also look the same, too, with the gray, like,
a little bit, yeah.
But, like, the thing with that, though, is, like, I kind of get it, too, because, like, even in Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis has always been like, she's always... Even in the, now, what's it called? Not redacted, like, retcon sequels, she was always that character of, like, worried about Michael, so like now it's
yeah,
just,
she was kind of like the through line.
Yeah, and now it's like her still being old. It's like, okay, if I did go 1 2 this or 1 this or whatever like with Halloween, I can still go, 10 years later, she's still like she has a legit reason. With Sarah Connor in this, it's like, okay, T2 ended, everything is fine, but now it's not. Like, no, the Halloween left it open, especially with the first one because Michael disappeared from the front yard. This one, like, T1 and T2 ended. Now she's still a crazy person?
I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I'm very excited for Mackenzie Davis, who was in a bunch of things that I like. I think she's playing like the cyborg that Gabriel Luna's character is trying to come and terminate. I think I don't know what's really going on. To be honest, just because I'm not like...
Just send like 10 Terminators back and just ice this kid. Like, why do you always just send one? Just send, like, an army. Who cares about the future? Kill the savior, for the love of God.
I mean, I'll see this movie.
I will probably see it.
It's just that the trailer kind of underwhelmed me. This is the second trailer. The first one didn't do anything for me. This one didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
It is what it is, I
guess. It is what it is, yeah.
And Schwarzenegger's back for this. As he's been in most of the sequels.
Why did Sarah Connor get scared of him? It's a sequel to T2, isn't it? Or is it a sequel to T1?
No, T2.
So she should know that he... Wait. Well, she saw him melt. That's right.
Yeah.
That's very actually true. All right, fair enough.
How do you explain that?
Dun 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 dun.
I guess. I'm sure that'll be brought up in the movie, but that's Dark Fate. Comes out next year. But a movie that I'm actually excited for, Breaking Bad, El Camino, coming out October 11th on Netflix, which is interesting. I thought that it was going to be on AMC first and then on Netflix, but apparently it's going right to Netflix.
How is AMC doing, I wonder? Because Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead probably isn't their cash cow anymore. What is their show right now? They haven't...
It's got to be Walking Dead. Still, even when the ratings are declining, it's still one of the top cable shows.
Because like it's not Mad Men anymore. It's not Breaking Bad. Walking Dead, OG Walking Dead's done. Is Walking Dead done? I forget.
It's still going.
Okay, there's Fear the Walking Dead,
and then they're making movies about Andrew Lincoln's character.
Okay,
from Walking Dead.
I keep saying Carl's dad, Rick Grimes. It's been a while since I watched that show. That first season's amazing.
I've never really gotten into The Walking Dead.
That was my show. I chose that show over Breaking Bad. Wow, what a poor choice.
Yeah, and you still won't watch Breaking Bad.
No. Is it on Netflix?
Yes, it's on Netflix. Why do you think El Camino's going to Netflix?
I don't know.
Because
Rocko's Modern Life isn't on Netflix, but Rocko's Digital 90s Static Cling is on Netflix.
But the difference is that Breaking Bad found its audience on Netflix.
Like The Office?
Yes, 100%. If you look at the ratings from where Breaking Bad started to where it finished, it's night and day. And a big reason for that, I think it is like Netflix, having shows like The Office, Breaking Bad. Those were like the two mainstays on Netflix when it like really boomed. And so in that sense, it does make sense to put this movie on there. This is going to follow Jesse Pinkman after the events of Breaking Bad, which I don't know where you go with that. Obviously, it seems like the police are trying to find him. He's still going to be on the run.
Who's his actor?
Aaron Paul.
Oh, okay. So it's
from
BoJack Horseman. I was going to say it is Todd. It is Todd. Okay.
So
yeah, science.
100%. Magnets, bitch. I love Breaking Bad. It's like my favorite show of all time. I would be hesitant if it wasn't Vince Gilligan doing this, because he has clearly demonstrated that if he has a story to tell, it's going to be done right. If you look at Better Call Saul, which some people consider to be the superior show to Breaking Bad, which I wouldn't say that.
Is it good?
It's great.
Okay.
Great television. So I trust Vince Gilligan in what, if he has a story to tell with Jesse, I'm in.
I forget the comedian's name who's a character in the show? The Boston.
Bob Odenkirk.
No.
Oh.
The comedian from Boston, the Massachusetts guy.
Bill Burr.
Yes. Did his character survive the show?
He did.
Okay, so do you think he'll appear in this?
Maybe,
because his clips on YouTube, the clips of him on YouTube, he's very good in that show from the clips I've seen.
Well, it seems like they're getting all the drug dealers to be interviewed. Like that's what this trailer was. It was one of the.
So
drug
it's gonna be the
dealers
big
from
guy
the show.
who lays in the money. Yeah, all right.
Might be Hugh.
Hugh.
Hugh might be there. So
How you feel? How you feeling? I'm doing all right.
This is more of a teaser trailer though, because it's not showing any footage of the movie itself.
This is the thing you play at a convention, and people are like, "Is this what I think it is?" And then it ends with the name of the show.
This is exactly what it was. It was like here we're coming out with this. This is how we announce it. So
it's like we have one more thing. You press play on Windows Movie Maker, and like this starts playing, and it ends with the Breaking Bad name.
And this movie was announced, so I was kind of surprised that people didn't know that this was coming. But at the same time, I'm gonna be interested to see how many people actually watch this, because unfortunately,
When did Breaking Bad end?
It ended, I believe, 2013, 2014. Maybe?
That would make sense because that was when I was finishing high school, and I think that was about like Walking Dead started when I was a freshman in high school, because I remember like walking around Jersey City and seeing that stuff. But like now this, like I remember them going kind of side by side for a little bit. Like it started a little bit before Walking Dead,
yeah,
and they ended around, or at least when I stopped caring, it was around the same time.
What I'm worried about is because unfortunately the audience from Breaking Bad hasn't exactly transferred over to Better Call Saul. It's still doing pretty well in ratings, but it's not at the Breaking Bad levels yet, even though the show is getting more towards Breaking Bad. You're seeing characters from Breaking Bad come into Better Call Saul. This is an obvious sequel to the show.
Yeah.
With one of the main characters from the show that people loved. I don't know how this is going to do, but October 11th, I will be in front of my TV watching this movie. I can't wait. And I trust Vince Gilligan. I think he's going to do a great job with it. And I expect you, Mike, to watch all of Breaking Bad by October 11th so that you can come over and we can review El Camino. How's that sound?
How many episodes of Breaking Bad are there?
There's a lot.
Yeah,
There's about 6 or so seasons.
And does it have like 20 episodes, 25 episode season?
No, I think the first season is about 6 or 8, and then from there it's about 10. It's doable, Mike.
I'm not doing it.
I don't want to hear that you,
I'm not
you
doing
don't want
it.
to watch it. You're depriving yourself.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
I know that it's like, I know basics. I've seen the jail scene. The jail, that's like, they got like 5 people, spent 10 minutes in like 5 different jails. I'm like, okay. I've seen the cool parts.
But it's about the character moments, Mike. That's what counts.
Okay.
Did I convince you?
No.
Okay, great.
I might, you know what? Maybe I'll watch maybe I'll
Here's
try.
the thing, though. A lot of people can't get through season 1.
Oh, it's one of those shows?
It's one of those
shows.
shows.
I'm sorry, Mr. I won't watch BoJack Horseman because I can't get through season
Well,
1.
guess what, Mike?
It gets better?
Guess what?
What?
I'm on season 2 of BoJack Horseman.
You did it?
Yes, I did.
What do you? Okay. This is big news.
Separate conversation.
Okay, separate. Let's keep going. But like, I want more of this. I need to know more about this.
Maybe next week, Mike.
Okay. I'm so
never
excited.
seen
You
so
got
excited.
past the Family Guy parts.
I did. Are you proud
Am
of
I a
me?
good person?
So now that I've made that sacrifice, can you start watching Breaking
Oh,
Bad?
you might convince me to get through season 1. Or I'll try my best. I'm very inconsistent, but I will try. You have my word. I will try.
Well, speaking of Netflix, just real briefly, it came out that The Irishman is going to be 3.5 hours.
That movie's gonna be on Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes
Where
sense.
have you been?
Are
Are you kidding me right now? Was that an actual question?
I forgot. I honestly just when I think Scorsese, I just think it's going to theaters.
Well, that's the thing, too. They've been trying to look for a deal with theaters to get it in there.
It's too long, isn't it?
I don't think it's that. It's more like the theaters don't want to run it just because if it's going to be on Netflix the same day, who's going to come out to the theater to watch it? I think that's their idea, but I don't think it's going to work out. You'll see it like maybe in a few theaters in the country, but it's not going to be in like an AMC.
You'll see it in a Boston theater.
But this is a movie that people would go to see it in a movie theater. Like, this is Scorsese. This is going back to his roots of these mobster kind of movies. 3.5 hours, though, that's a lot to ask for of an audience, to sit there for 3.5 hours and watch a movie. I don't care who you are. That's just a big ask for 2019 audiences.
So, like, I could tell you, my favorite movie of all time is Godfather 1, and that's just under 3 hours. I can tell you right now, if I watch that, even the extended, which goes past 3 hours, like, you watch that from the wedding up until the door closing on Michael, that's a slog. It's not a slog, but it drains you because no commercials. Because AMC, if you watch on AMC, it's commercials. But like if you watch it just straight, it hurts. This like what was Avengers Endgame was 3 hours and 5 minutes.
I think it was under 3 hours. I think it was like 250 something.
I think when I look up Google, it goes to 302. But like that,
maybe with credits.
Yeah. So like think of it like this. Think of it like that. I remember watching that in theaters going, I gotta really piss right now. And it's like, that one hurts, because the first half of the movie is just all, like, people dealing with drama. This movie is going to be a mobster movie, and Scorsese's known for dialogue and characters and stuff like that. Like, this is going to be 3.5 hours, and that's gonna be a lot. And you have to digest it all.
I guess that's the benefit of it being on Netflix. If you have to go to the bathroom, you just press pause on your remote.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
If you had to choose between this and watching 4 episodes of an hour-long show, which I know, like, you get more of the... But, you know, what's more appealing to you? If you said to someone, would you rather binge watch 4 episodes of a show that's an hour or watch this 3.5-hour movie, what do you think they'd want to do?
For anybody else, probably the TV show for whatever reason. For me personally, I would take the movie over the show, because at the end of the day, if I watch 4 episodes, there's still more. You know what I mean? At least with The Irishman, if I commit 3.5 hours to this thing, it's done. Beginning and end. So
Scorsese doesn't leave up for sequels either, so yeah.
I have a different opinion, though, if it's like a 2-hour movie. 2-hour movie, I would probably do the 2 episodes. But because 3.5 hours, it's kind of like an epic of sorts. Like, this is like Lawrence of Arabia territory. This is Gone with the Wind territory. I would rather do that. But, I mean... because it's on Netflix, you just pause it, you go to the bathroom, you come back. So, I don't know. And it seems like Scorsese's going to have the cut. I think this is his cut. I don't think Netflix is telling him, hey, you have to cut this down to maybe like 2.5.
I'm wondering, like, what Scorsese wants you to do. If he can tell you, like, if it's going to be in chapters, and you can say, you can take a break here. Like,
oh, I don't think so.
No, I don't mean, like...
He probably wants this movie in theaters,
I wonder
to be fair.
If there's, like... if you even he could say, like, it's not in the movie, but you could, like, even he's thinking, this is arc 1, this is arc 2, this is arc 3. I'm wondering if that's how the movie's gonna go, and maybe, like, if you see it coming, you could take it time jumps, you could take a break there.
Even though he's going on to kind of a new technology of film, putting his movie on Netflix, he's still very much old school.
Do you think mobster movies have a place in 2019?
For a certain audience. I think that's why he couldn't get the funding for this movie. That's why he had to go to Netflix and say, hey, I want to make this movie. Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, everything like Pacino.
The last mobster movie we had was Gotti, I think. And it was like, that was awful and did awful for it. But like, if you see Casino or Goodfellas on TV, I will watch it. It's good, but like, I can't tell you what the last great mobster movie was without going back a while.
It's definitely, I think that's like one of those genres that just people don't make anymore. Even westerns, I feel like there's been way more westerns than like these crime mobster movies lately. But at the same time, you know it's going to be a special movie. Like, this is the same guy who made Goodfellas, who made Casino, who made The Departed. Like, crime movies, that's right up Scorsese's alley. I don't necessarily love the ones that kind of stray away from the crime movies. Like, his last one, Silence, with Andrew Garfield and Liam Neeson, was a slog for me. I didn't like that movie at all. I appreciated it, but at the same time, I would never watch that movie again. So 3.5 hours.
We're getting this in the Sopranos movie in like the span of 2 years. So
yeah, next year's Sopranos.
I'm pretty good with that.
Yeah. So hopefully this is kind of like the resurgence. Maybe we see these crime mobster movies come back. Because I would love that. I love the mobster movies. So
Yeah.
But it's a big commitment. It's Scorsese. I'll still watch it.
I will definitely watch this.
And
I'll watch this instead of 4 episodes of Breaking Bad. Man, if you could see the face on Bobby right now.
well, you made the commitment, Mike.
I'm gonna try. I will at least watch episode 1.
Is that really a commitment though?
I don't know.
One episode.
I don't
like 42
care.
minutes.
Is it really okay?
Because it's on AMC, so they got to put the 18 minutes of commercials or
It's
whatever.
like I hate when people do this where they say, "Oh, you're gonna watch this."
Mike, your life is so tough. Oh, I hate when
I
people
don't
do
care
this.
about Game of Thrones. I don't care about.
I don't
Breaking
care
Bad.
about the Disney parks. I don't care.
I don't care.
What do you care about, Mike?
You know what I care about? What do I care about? I care about. We gotta give credit. I care about artists. We should drop the info for the person who did our logos again. Like he could be our sponsor. I wanted to do it at the beginning, but I forgot. So let's just segue into that.
Mike Pico.
Mike Pico.
At We the Pico. If you need any graphics, you hit him up. He'll give you a good rate. Tell him we sent you.
Tell him we sent.
Did a great job on the logos and everything like that.
Tell him Mike and Bobby sent you.
Yeah. And he's going to be like, Mike who?
Mike who? Mike.
Obviously no me, but Mike who?
Mike who?
There's a lot of Mikes in the world.
Mike
so
you. With Mike Petco.
Mike you.
Mike you. With you and Petco doing art together.
Pico.
Petco
is that Padres Park, Mike.
And also a store.
Yes.
What's next?
Mike Petco.
Mike Petco.
Oh boy, we can't go an episode with one of these Batista outbursts. Anyway, I saw a couple movies, Mike, this week.
You did. You've seen 3?
Including Good Boys.
Yeah, that's why I'm including it.
2 movies. First,
did you double feature this on the same day?
I didn't. 2 separate days. First, Peanut Butter Falcon. This has been getting a lot of buzz lately. It stars Shia LaBeouf.
Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
LaBeouf?
I mean, I've heard 3 versions. I make fun of it.
Kid from Even Stevens.
And Holes.
But he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah,
he is really good, especially in this movie. He is amazing. You also have Dakota Johnson in this from, the 50 Shades movies, but she's been in a...
Does she have like an act? Is she actually acting in this movie?
Oh yeah,
okay,
yeah. I mean, she's a good actor.
She is.
Bad Times at the El Royale. She was really good in that.
Yes.
And this is about a story with a kid with Down syndrome that's an actual kid with Down syndrome he's the star of this movie. And this is why I kind of feel like you should have seen this movie, Mike, because he's stuck in like a nursing home because he doesn't have any family, and he wants to break out to go to a wrestling school. He watches a tape of his favorite wrestler, and the wrestler's promoting his wrestling school. So it's basically his journey to break out and go train and live his life, and he runs into Shia LaBeouf's character, who's kind of mixed up with bad things, and it's a really sweet movie. You also have Jake the Snake in this movie. He's kind of like the wrestler's buddy, who's also a wrestler as well, but he's not called Jake the Snake. This is a really great little movie. The kid with Down syndrome, I'm gonna have to look up his name, but he's actually a good actor. And man, if Shia just gets his act together and he stays out of trouble, he would be like one of this generation's best actors.
Well, he didn't want to be famous for a while.
Yeah, but he brings it upon himself in a lot of ways. He just does like stupid stuff. He did that whole plagiarism controversy, and then him inviting everybody to come and watch all of his movies. Do you remember that? And
kind of.
And the Just Do It thing. Like he obviously,
that was great though.
That was pretty good. But he brings this kind of unwanted attention to himself.
Him jumping into the actual Cannibal Shia LaBeouf music video.
Yep.
Like he does good things in the crazy.
But at the same, he's being arrested. He's fighting. He's doing all this stupid stuff. I don't know.
Is he like Amanda Bynes almost?
No,
Amanda Bynes isn't as good of an actor, but like that seems sort of like child star crazy.
Yeah, but Amanda Bynes was just like, she had a lot of drug issues. I don't think he has drug issues. I think he just like he gets himself into bad situations, kind of like his character in this movie. So the kid is called Zach Gottsagen. This is obviously his first movie, I believe, or maybe his second movie. He's a good actor. I don't know that this is going to be like a big box office hit, but it's definitely one to check out. It's a nice little sweet story. The friendship between Shia and Zach.
I don't know why, but it seems as of late we've been having a lot of movies where wrestling is taking part in it again.
Yeah,
I'm not saying wrestling is becoming mainstream again, but like you look at Glow, you look at there was something else with wrestling in it. Fighting
with my family.
Fighting with my family. Then you had you have this, and I think there's something else coming out like
The Wrestler, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago. That was a great movie though. Oh,
fantastic,
such a good movie. And if you make Roddy Piper cry, you're doing something right. But regardless, it seems though it's coming back, and it's like there's a term for it. But like when you have a lot of stuff come out around the same time, and maybe it's not even all connected.
Yeah.
I'm happy that this movie exists without even seeing it yet, because it seems like it's a good story and it uses a medium I like to tell that story. I'm curious to see this now.
I think you would have dug it, and I'm sure in a couple months it'll pop up on
how
like,
long
Netflix.
was this movie?
Hour and a half. Hour and a half.
Oh, perfect.
It's like these 3 movies that I've seen this week, all an hour and a half.
How refreshing is it?
It's really refreshing.
It's nice to.
I'm building myself up for The Irishman in 3.5 hours. But yeah, Peanut Butter Falcon, highly recommend that one. But Mike, the heavy hitter that I saw yesterday is a movie called Ready or Not. And this is one
I wanted to see this movie
that
with
we
you.
considered reviewing for the show. It's just like the AMC bias is weird. The first showtime was like at 1:45 or something like that.
And I do things after the podcast, and I can't.
Yeah, you got things going on. But this is one that knocked my socks off. I loved Ready or Not.
I loved the trailer when I first saw it in an AMC theater, because that's the first time I saw it. And I actually said to you, I forget.
Very under the radar.
I remember saying to you, I forget what the movie we were seeing, but I said, I think I even said in this podcast, the trailer, it looked like a better whodunit, like Clue movie than the movie we had seen. I forget what the movie we saw was.
I'll have to look that up.
But it was just like...
Scary Stories.
Yeah, that's it. I remember this movie felt better than... This movie, by the trailer, interested me more than Scary Stories.
And it's funny, too, because, like... I don't know what it is. It's kind of... I guess you can compare it to The Hunt, which is another kind of, like, track him down, shoot him up kind of movie.
Yeah.
This one is really, like, edge-of-your-seat suspense, but also super funny. I can dig that. It's twisted. Man, this came out of nowhere for me. The main girl, Samara Weaving, is phenomenal. She kind of reminds me of... Well, she looks very much like Margot Robbie in this movie.
Really?
But she's been in 3 Billboards.
You love that movie.
I love 3 Billboards. The Babysitter, which I think was a Netflix movie that did really well. I think it was like another kind of Netflix horror movie.
Yeah, I saw that movie. That was the movie where, like, it was the babysitter and her friends were, like, satanic people. Yeah, I saw that movie. Yeah,
so that's the main girl. She's in this one.
Okay. She was really good in that movie.
Really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes I don't think you would consider this a horror movie, but it kind of has the set... Mike, I'm keeping all this in. I hope you realize that. I'm not editing that out.
How much of that was you hear?
Everything.
I mean, was
very
it loud?
Clear. Very clear, yep.
Okay, look, whatever. That happens.
It's almost as if I silence my phone before we start the podcast.
Usually my phone stays silenced from when we're in the theater. Mike? I think I was fidgeting with the phone case and it just came on silenced.
I was on a roll, Mike.
Yeah, keep going.
Well, I don't know where I was talking
You were going about how...
okay. So it's not necessarily a horror movie, but it kind of has the setup of one. And
you're talking about this one.
Yeah, Ready or Not.
This movie...
I would consider it more of a thriller comedy, ironically. Like, I don't think it's very scary, but because it's like the main girl's being tracked down, you can have those kind of tropes to, like, she makes the wrong decisions just for, like, the sake of the plot and everything like that. I think there's only maybe, like, one decision that I don't agree with, so she's not, like, one of those stupid, like, final girl kind of horror characters. You know, like, she actually has some intelligence. She does a lot of good things that she tries out in this movie to fight the family who's trying to kill her, which is just... It's nutty.
The trailer made it seem like an Adult Swim skit for like a little bit of the time.
It definitely feels like that for some of the movie. It's, like I said, it's really funny. Like, I was dying at parts, which you wouldn't expect. But at the same time, I don't think it's a clash of tones. I think it works within the movie. But it's just a really unique story. It's weird. It's bizarre. It's got a little bit of sci-fi in there. Man, like, this is one of my favorite movies of the year. It's gotten really positive reviews, not necessarily ones that call it, like, the best movie of the year. I'm not saying that. It's just a really fun time. Like I said, hour and a half, you're in, you're out. It doesn't wear out. It's welcome. Definitely go check out this movie. Ready or Not, it's doing pretty well at the box office, too. People are finding this movie. It's from Fox Searchlight, which is now under Disney. So technically, this is a Disney movie.
Some of my favorite, like, episodes of cartoons when I was growing up was this premise of, like, getting hunted, like, the kid, like, trying to, or something like that. Like, there was a Codename Kids Next Door episode like this. And I love that sort of genre. I don't think it's done well enough. So, yeah, I'm wanting to see this.
For sure. And if you guys, have a free day to go to the movies, definitely check out...
How long is this movie, Bobby?
It's an hour and a half, Mike.
So just, literally, like, what's an hour and a half cost you?
Well, probably the same price as a 2-hour movie, Mike.
I'm saying, like, you can... What, you go on a weekend, if you have a weekend available?
Go on a Tuesday, the discount Tuesdays at AMC.
Yeah, or, whatever, you can literally...
You know what? Pay full price for this movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. Please support... these are the movies that really
If you go on a Saturday and see it at, like, 11 a.m., if it's available, you'll be done by lunchtime.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense. Yeah. And these, like, I can't stress this enough, because especially that this is a technically Disney movie, these are the movies that need to make money to prove to Disney, like, hey, you can't just make these franchises, you can't make... a fucking another Lion King movie or an Aladdin movie. Like, these are the movies I want to see more of, which I'm scared we're not going to see with Disney owning Fox now. But if this movie makes money that it keeps continuing to do, I think that makes a statement to Disney that, like, hey, let's take a risk with some of these.
Yeah.
This is definitely a risk that paid off. Go check out Ready or Not. And for a movie that we both saw together today, Mike... Good Boys.
Mm-hmm.
This has been arguably like one of the surprise hits of the summer.
Yeah,
it hasn't made a ton of money, but it's definitely found a place in August.
I thought this movie was going to just be like, I thought it was going to be like Seth Rogen's movies always do this, where it's like do a lot of trailers, and like, wow, it's the funniest thing you can see right now. And you get those trailers coming out, and you're getting that where it's like certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, because that's the second wave of commercials. But I've been honestly like happy with and seeing a lot of happy people like talking about it, making it seem like, oh, you know what? It actually is enjoyable. It's not just dumb.
Yeah, and that was my hesitation with the trailers. I didn't love the trailers. You knew that, like. At one point when we were watching one of them before a movie, you looked over to me and like, you're never going to see this, are you? Yeah. And I was like, I don't think so.
Because I said, this looks like a teen Superbad.
Yeah. And I know I'm going to get shit for this. I don't like Superbad. It's very controversial. I think it's just too much.
If I made a top 10 movies of all time, Superbad might be on there.
And for people our age, that's common on a lot of lists. So there's for favorite movies.
But about this movie, like,
yeah.
You want me to start off? Because, like, maybe this is
more
of my forte.
Yeah.
With this movie, it kind of did something similar to what happened with Blinded by the Light, where it's like my tone changed as the movie went on. Because at first I was like, this is very cringy. This is very, like, too much. Then it got better as, like, time went on. I got worried a little bit in the middle, and then, like, it got better again. Because it, like... I think you actually see the characters develop in a legit way. It's not coming... It's almost like a coming-of-age story.
I think you would consider this coming of age, yeah.
And it was a good coming of age, even though, like... And the character actors, the kid actors, did very well in portraying that.
If Stand By Me is a coming-of-age movie, this has got to be one.
Yeah, but there's no dead body.
True, but, I mean, as far as, like, age-wise...
There's a dead mannequin, but I mean... the thing is with this is that I was pleasantly surprised of how much I didn't relate to one singular character. I related to each one in their own way. And I can appreciate that I was like, this part of this kid, this part of that, this part of that. And it matured in a way that, do I think I'm like that now? Some yes, some no, but I can understand how you get from point A to point B, and they made it fun getting there, you know? When you have your story where it's, you have a problem that you caused yourself. Okay, now we have to fix this. But we don't have the actual means of transportation. We have to take the longest route there and develop in getting to that place. I enjoyed that movie, especially where it's like, we have to go 4 miles by bike. That's a long trip.
Yeah, I had low expectations for this movie, even though like I had heard it was good. I think that's one of the reasons why, I kind of wanted to see the movie after a while. Like, I had heard things like it's not as like super bad as the trailer would lead you to be. Like, because the trailers for these are like curse, sex, sex, sex. It's not really like that.
There's not much cursing. Like, there is cursing, but there's not much.
But it's at the same time, like the kids are still they have this innocence of them.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what leads to most of the jokes. Like they don't understand a lot of things, and that because we obviously know what they're talking about, it's funny to us.
Yeah.
So they're not super self-aware, which is, I think, it benefited the movie to where, like, if they knew everything, then it would just be like, okay, yeah, it's the movie that I thought it would be, to where kids are just making sex jokes and cursing and, all that kind of stuff. It's not that, which I liked. It didn't blow me away, but it's definitely a solid movie. It's funny, and with comedies, like that's the most important aspect. Is it funny or not? I would say this is funny.
This is moments of really good.
Of course, not everything hits. Right?
Yeah.
And I feel sometimes there's too many beats. Okay, we have to go to this place. Oh, now we have to go to this place. Oh, we have to go to this place. Instead of, just having like a natural kind of flow to it.
Yeah.
And this was directed by Gene Stupnitsky, who I believe was involved with The Office. He's written, Bad Teacher, Office Christmas Party, and Year One, which aren't critically acclaimed movies.
No, Year One was awful. Bad Teacher was okay.
Have you seen Office Christmas Party at all? I haven't seen any of the three.
Bad Teacher's actually kind of good. It's got its moments. Year One is god awful.
So I hear.
Yeah,
and that's a shame because I
real
love
quick.
Jack Black.
Is the one kid in this movie Craig T. Robinson's son?
You would think that, but no, Mike. It's just because a little kid has the same afro as Craig Robinson does not mean that it's his love child. But I understand.
It was the same sort of humor too. Like he hit that same sort of Craig T. Robinson feel.
Keith L. Williams is his name.
Okay. Also, was his father the guy from Us?
Yes, it was.
Okay, he was great.
Lil Rel.
God, he was great.
Love him. You have Retta from Parks and Rec. Will Forte.
Will Forte
is so funny.
Will Forte was great.
I wanted more of Will Forte.
The parents were really good in this movie.
He was in Booksmart as well, and again, it was like another minor father role. I wish there was more Will Forte in both of those movies. You also have Molly Gordon, who was also in Booksmart, who was the Hannah, who was alongside her friend.
The teenagers.
Yeah, the teenage girls.
There was just a lot of... Honestly, there was no bad acting in this movie.
No, I don't think so.
And when you have these movies where it's like coming of age or it involves a lot of kids, you worry there's going to be a lot of bad act. You worry that it's like they are not going to be able to act. And with this in 8th grade, it's like, okay, we might... And there was also the Jonah Hill movie I did not see. Mid-90s.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we might be getting to the point where child actors are good. And I'm like, I'm excited for this a lot. The one thing I'm going to say, though, is that I did not like how the scab ginger with the lisp. I was like, oh God, please don't let him become a recurring thing. Okay, he was one scene, one hit joke.
Just like
we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, we're solid. You know what to do.
The supporting cast, like all the kids, are really good. Just like the little Asian kid who throws the party, he was like super funny.
He was great.
I feel like I've seen him before in something. I can't put my name on it.
Don't say the thing. Yeah.
I'll have to look it up afterwards. But he was super super funny in this. And then the main kid, Jacob Tremblay, who was in Room,
Very good,
who
yeah.
came onto the scene in that with what's her name, Captain Marvel, Brie Larson.
Brie Larson.
That's when he came
He
onto the scene.
reminds
He
me-
was great in that. He's great in this.
He reminds me of the kid from Cop Car, which I remember saying to you. I know I bring this movie up too much.
Mike, what was that? What was that name of the movie where the kids they took that car? It was from a cop. What was that name?
I believe it's called Cop Car.
Oh, okay.
But I remember watching. Like, he reminded me of the main kid from that movie too, where it's just like he was like. That's I know it's two totally different genres, but like same sort of styles, like same sort of like cadence, like and believable. Like I liked it.
And have you seen the movie Wonder with it was Jacob, Julia Roberts, and Owen Wilson? Because that's another like
Give
really,
me a sentence.
he like has a he's like disfigured face and he's trying to fit in school, and it's another like really super sweet
I don't think I
movie.
saw this.
Great movie. He's great in that. He's great. He's just really good. Like if he sticks around, he's gonna be like one of the top actors in like 10 years. If he's this
Hopefully.
good now,
Hopefully.
I can imagine how he will be in 10 years. But yeah, I mean,
Do you have any critical points to this movie?
I mean, just the fact that it kind of like it goes from one place to another and it just bounces all around.
How
I
would
didn't
you-
love that.
how
The
would you done it-
structure.
Well, how would you done it better if they're like would you have cut the part out about the drone and made a different version of this, or like do you think that you can get from you're a sixth grader, you have to get 4 miles from your house and back? How would you have done? Would you have cut out the highway scene? Like,
Well,
what would you have
it was
done?
just like so much with the drone. It just kept going on and on and on. Like they had to go to the drug house, they had to go to the mall, they had to go this way just for it's.
It was like all right,
and then at the end he gets caught anyway. So it's
so
like,
here was the three arcs of this movie. It was how do we kiss people? Then most of the movie was how do we get the drone / running from the drug people. Then it was then it went to
like a friendship story,
breakup,
yeah.
and then it was epilogue.
Yeah.
So it's like 3.5 sections of movie.
That might just be like an editing problem. It's felt a little choppy to me.
Yeah, I feel like you could have done like maybe the friendship breakup stuff should have been more through the movie.
I would agree with that.
I feel like maybe they were subtly hitting, like, especially with the role, like the kid who always like told the truth and stuff. Like you could see that he was like starting to have that, but none of the other ones were.
Nah, that was more like they just crammed it all into that third act.
Yeah.
To where they settled the drone stuff, and then it's kind of predictable in that
We
sense, where
fixed
they
the
have to
drone
separate and then come back.
We fixed the drone stuff. Yeah, well, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Although I will say the point of them all walking home on the same street.
That was really
that
funny.
was really funny.
Because we see those montages in movies before, and yeah, I thought that was a really good gag. And another thing, because it was the first time.
You made fun of me, by the way, in that third act.
Oh yeah, because I mean there were a couple of I wouldn't say jump scares, but kind of effects to
bong.
where yeah,
I was
like,
like,
kind of loud noises that would.
And of course I jump, and I could see him laughing. I'm
Well,
like,
you looked at me first.
I said shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Oh, there is one. I had an editing problem with this movie. Do you remember in the cafeteria when?
Well, we don't want to spoil it, but
Okay, but this is fine. Do you remember in the cafeteria where the main character gets the invitation, and it does that like bong, and then he goes back to his friends. They all both do the bong, and they just kept. There was points in this movie where they kept repeating sound effects. I'm like, okay, don't. There were royalty free sound effects in this movie, and it's like it does take you out of it for a second.
And because it's like a first time director who is typically a
I
writer.
thought you say he did four. Oh, he wrote.
Well, he wrote
okay.
those movies. He didn't direct them. This is his first directing job. There's nothing visually interesting about the movie. I don't think there's any.
I love the soundtrack.
Soundtrack is great. It's just that it's kind of flat.
It
like
is.
if you put this on Netflix, it would have been fine.
If you
this
had-
isn't a movie that you have to see in a theater.
No, this is a movie.
But you can
could
say that
see.
for most of comedies, really. But
This is a movie I could totally see just on Netflix, or honestly, like I'm trying to think of like a channel I would watch this on, but like it's kind of hard.
maybe like an FX.
Maybe FX, but like FX censor stuff. But yeah, you probably would do that there.
So yeah, I mean those are like.
There's not
my
much to
big
censor in this movie,
criticisms.
honestly.
I mean,
Stephen Merchant shocked me when he showed up. I was like,
he shows
"Whoa."
up. He's really good. But yeah, I mean, with comedies, it's like the big criticism is it funny or is it not? this movie's funny, so I enjoyed it. That's what it comes down to.
Where is this on your rankings? Because you have a lot more movies than me.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not close to. I mean it's probably middle of the pack, lower of the pack. It's it's a 6 out of 10 movie for me. Like it's good. Would I watch it again? Maybe, probably not. Honestly, like it's a good watch. It's just I don't feel like I'd revisit this movie.
So out of 17 movies, I have this as 11.
Okay.
Which is and to give you perspective, it's
so what do you have it ahead of?
So all the movies I have it ahead of?
Yeah.
Going from
just the highlights.
Going from there's only a few. Going from worst to best it's above Cold Pursuit, Fighting with My Family, John Wick 3, Lion King, Blinded by the Light, and Captain Marvel.
So there you go.
And like the next 3 movies in front of it are Glass, Detective Pikachu, and Scary Stories.
Yeah. So
and that make Scary Stories is a franchise I want to see continue, and I want to see
I think we'll get a sequel to it,
and I want to see those characters again. Detective Pikachu, it did very well with its characters. Glass is a conclusion story. Good Boys is not something I want to revisit in that same world. I might watch it again, but I've seen the arc of these characters.
If it's on cable, maybe you stop and put it on in the background.
Oh, I like this part.
Yeah. But I think that's the kind of movie it is.
Yeah, and I don't. The movies it's above are either movies that ran their course, were bland, or like had characters I didn't care about. Like this one, I enjoyed the characters.
Yeah, so it's a good movie. Yeah, go see it. If
not,
rent it when it goes to Redbox or something like that.
This is a movie. Comedies are not something that's going to be sustainable for much longer. Like comedies,
I think we've seen that this year with how little
there's
these
very
comedies
few
are making.
comedies, and we need to show people. We need to show like Hollywood that we care about comedies, because comedies are still funny. Like comedies don't need
most of them.
Like we don't need to go the extra mile to make comedies this unique thing. We can just have a movie where we can go see stupid stuff happen and like enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't want us to just become, comedies have to become the subtext, or we have to go specifically see comedy specials, or just a comedy TV show. I want there to still be these movies, even if I don't see it. I think other people it should still be an option.
I agree, and so yeah, that's our review of Good Boys. And
where would you put it? Where'd you say you put it?
I don't have an exact number, but it's a 6 out of 10.
That's about where 6.
It's good.
I agree with you on that one. No division.
Next week though, it'll be interesting, Mike. We got a big one next week. Finally, It Chapter 2 coming out next week.
Oh no.
Speaking of runtime, Mike, this thing is apparently like 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh.
So I hope you hold your bladder. And man, I wish we can bring in a camera and just to record your reactions, because I'm going to see a lot of jumping.
I'm going to sit like 2 seats away from you.
I cannot wait.
I'm so annoyed. I've seen the trailer for this movie multiple times, and like the part in the mirror house, it's like, oh no, I can't, oh no, or the old woman's going to destroy me. Oh no,
I can't wait.
I don't want to do that. I want to see this movie in my house.
You're definitely going to want to listen to the show next week for our review of that. It Chapter 2. And if this is like... if this is anything like that, which I've heard, and it's also 2 hours and 45 minutes, it might be a little bit of a drag.
How long was the first one?
Probably around like 2 hours, something like that.
Okay, fair enough. Like the first movie's good. It doesn't fly, but it's good. It doesn't fly by, but it's like very good. That's a scary movie that makes me jump, but I want to see more of it, So
we'll see what happens next week. That's about it, guys. Once again, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. We're at Picture Perfect on there. On Facebook and YouTube, Picture Perfect. Twitter, Pick Perfect Cast. You can find me at Bobby is Gross on Twitter. Where can they find you, Mike?
You can find me at MichaelB_96. You can also find Bobby at your local bar trying to win movie trivia.
That's not true at all. And yeah, guys, we'll catch you next week with our review of It Chapter 2.
See you then. Bobby, bring the buffalo wings.